Hi there. Welcome to the first spring edition of NIU Weekly here in 2025. Spring football practice is in full swing. And so today we are going to talk with the new offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach of the Huskies, Quinn Sanders. We'll be doing this over the next couple of weeks here, getting ready for the football season and also highlighting some of the spring sports here at NIU. Welcome to another edition of the show. I'm Terry Bonadonna. Today, I am very excited to be joined by Quinn Sanders, and we'll get to him in just a couple of minutes. But before we do that, there's other big news around the world of NIU athletics. Earlier this week, there was a new announcement made as to the head coach of the women's basketball program. It's always a little bit dicey making your announcements on April Fool's Day, but this was no joke. J.C. Brooks has officially been named the new head coach for the women's basketball team, and she brings quite a resume. Most recently, she was at the University of Buffalo, spent the last couple of seasons there as the associate head coach. She helped the Bulls to 47 wins during her tenure on that staff. They've been in the WNIT back-to-back seasons, so she brings very strong knowledge of the area of Division I basketball, but she's also had major success at the Division III level. She spent 5 years as the head coach at SUNY Cortland, a Division III program out in New York State. She led the Red Dragons to the NCAA championships 3 times in her 5 years and was a 2-time conference coach of the year. She is going to be introduced at a press conference at the NIU Convocation Center. The official time of that has not been announced just yet, so make sure that you keep up to date at niuhuskies.com. You'll be able to see the full release there with more information on J.C. Brooks herself and when that introductory press conference will be. Keep in mind as well that you can find that introductory press conference through the NIU social media channels as well. So let's move on to spring football because spring football practice has been in session now for the last week. It's the first chance to get a look at the 2025 Huskies, which is always very exciting, even though, we're still a few months away from the start of the season. It's never too early to think about football. And with that in mind, football season tickets for the 2025 season are on sale now. You can find them at niuhuskies.com/tickets. You can also purchase your season tickets by calling 815-753-7225. It's 815-753-7225. You can also check out the information on parking in the Husky Athletic Fund 2025 membership guide, as there are several changes to the parking and benefits packages. The 25 season opener is coming up in late August against Holy Cross. It's going to be here before we know it, but the team is on the field practicing right now with a lot of new faces, including Quinn Sanders, who is the new offense coordinator and quarterbacks coach. He's our first guest today. Let's get right to it. It is time to welcome our first guest, Mr. Quinn Sanders, the new offensive coordinator / quarterbacks coach here at NIU. Coach, welcome to NIU Weekly.
Oh, thank you for having me, Terry. I'm excited, just to have a chance to get on the show with you.
You came in to DeKalb, named offensive coordinator this January after spending a long time at the University of Charleston in West Virginia. Last 3 seasons, you were the head coach over there. You went to school there. You coached there, promoted to head coach, 2-time Mountain East Coach of the Year, a couple of conference championships, obviously very qualified. Why now for making the move to DeKalb and making the switch into the MAC and Division I football?
Yeah, I think, start out, I think for anybody, just like Coach Hammock would tell you, it's a special opportunity when you get a chance to be the head coach of your alma mater or even coach your alma mater. It's just it's a special opportunity that, you can't ever pass up. I think for me, I'll be honest with you, when I came back, as an assistant, as a player, I had finished second in the league and the conference probably 5-6 times. So we'd never won a conference championship. So kind of this little burning thing in the back of my head was, I can't leave this university till we bring a championship home. Well, fortunately for me, I was able to ring 2 there. Not saying I accomplished everything I wanted, so hoping we could push for national championships and those things. But it just felt like the right time and the right opportunity to, make the move into the next step of my career. I felt, not saying I accomplished everything I wanted to at the University of Charleston, but I'd like to say that I left it in a better place than I found it. So, it was just the right time to kind of make that next step in my career.
You mentioned having that in common with Coach Hammock, the fact that you were the head coach of your alma mater. Is that something that you've been able to relate to him about?
Yeah, and you can see it. It's just a passion. Coach Hammock cares about this place in a deeper way. And that's the special thing about being a head coach previously that was at his alma mater and then having the fortunate ability to come to a place like NIU where the head coach, this is his alma mater, and you can see the passion how much he cares about this place, and everything he's doing is for this university and for this football program. So to have a chance to, come into a program where, it's a lot of the same things that, how I felt about my university at University of Charleston. He feels the same way about this university, and it's a special thing to, have a chance to come into a program like this.
You were named the new offensive coordinator in January. And of course, there are all kinds of NCAA rules about when you can practice, when you can meet with the players, all of these different things. Practice just started last week, spring practice. You've been in town now for the last couple of months. What have these last 3 months been like for you in adjusting to not just a new job, but, a new part of the country?
Yeah, I think that, for me as a football coach, the thing that you start to learn, I was fortunate. I'm from, Panama City Beach, Florida, up in the Panhandles, kind of found my way up to West Virginia. And the thing that I found out, no matter where you are, it's not so much the location or the destination, it's the people, right? So I think the people here have been so welcoming, so open arm of really accepting everything that, I'm trying to get instilled and bring me into their culture, bring me into, their program and kind of having the ability to hit the ground running because of the things that are already instilled within this program. They already have, great discipline. They already give great effort. They already have great technique. So now it's just trying to put the layers of the offense together in a systematic way that will make sure that we're building it the right way that we need for the fall. So I think the biggest thing for me is just how accepting, how welcoming, and how much work had already been put into a place in this program before I even got here.
You need that. You need that Midwestern hospitality because you came to the
Yeah.
Midwest at a bad time of year. If you're from Florida, you're used to being in West Virginia. January through April in DeKalb is not necessarily the most fun, but it's getting to be the better time of year here.
Well, that's why we have that beautiful indoor, right? We got
Mhm.
the most beautiful indoor, I think in the country. So, for me, I'm like, it don't matter, rain, sleet, snow, we can get working. So I think that's the great thing about that.
All right, let's talk nuts and bolts a little bit. You come
Okay.
from a program that was fantastic offensively. Obviously, a big part of the reason that Coach Hammock wanted you here in DeKalb. You averaged 44 points per game the last couple of seasons, top 10 offense nationally. How do you transition to a new program? Are you bringing that same offense with you, or are you adapting to some of the new personnel you have here and obviously playing against a different level of competition as well? So how does that factor into it?
Well, if there's anybody that is non NIU Husky listening that happens to be that we're playing next year, we are under center triple option team. So let's just keep that in mind. No, the biggest thing for me is adjusting. I think the scheme to me is about highlighting your best players, right? So, coming out of the spring, we have a lot of, how do I say this, like ideologies of things that, we want to get done, certain concepts, certain run frames, whatever it may be. But now it's kind of fitting those into what our players can do. I think every play is good that you can see underneath the sun. I think the difference between a good game and a bad game, or a good play and a bad play, is execution. So for us, it's making sure that they can understand the nuts and bolts of what we're trying to do and execute at full speed at the fastest level, and then kind of moving on from there. But coming out of the spring, it's making sure we establish the right guys that fit within the offense of what we're trying to get done. Like I said, we have ideologies of what we're trying to do, things that we like. It's now just pairing it with the players that we have to put the best product on the field.
How do you think that the players you were, well, I should go back first. I'm sure you've seen a lot of the 2024 Huskies. So you
Mm-hmm.
know the types of players that were here last year. A lot of them are coming back this year. Obviously, you've got a lot of pieces to replace as well, but you know the style of play, you know the results. What do you think, somebody who watched every game last year, what do you think we're going to notice differently this coming season?
I think the big thing that you see last year is, they're a run heavy team. I like to run the football too. I think that's really how, you win championships late in the year. I think, my old adage is always you throw the ball to score, run the ball to win when it comes down to it. So, the thing about what I would say probably be a little different, we might be a little more opened up. We still have the ability to get heavy, just a little more formational diversity is probably the biggest thing. I mean, other than that, football's football. I think everybody runs inside zone, everybody runs power, counter, drive series, four verts, however it may be. It's just how you're getting to it and, what you call it. It's and then the details you put to it. So, still want to run the ball, do all those fun things, throw it. The biggest thing for me is no matter what the score is, if we got to win a game 60 to 59 or 3-2, that's the number one goal of the offense is finding ways to win games each and every week.
Now that you've had a few months to work with some of these new players with the Huskies, how have they taken to your new offense and how has the working relationship been with them?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. To bring a new offense in here with, like, you said you got some players to replace. It's kind of all new. We're all starting a little fresh together. It's amazing to watch these guys grow. It's amazing to watch them get better each and every day. I'm watching the players grow together. I'm watching, us get closer together. I'm watching the coaching staff get closer together. So it's an amazing all around opportunity to kind of be all in this together to, I'm not saying start fresh. But like you mentioned earlier, there are some guys that left and missing, some different things going on. So we all are kind of figuring our way through, how to put the best product on the field together.
In addition to your role as offensive coordinator, you're also the quarterbacks coach. And I know that's the position that is going to get the most scrutiny coming into the 2025 season. Going back to last year, Josh Holst got the start in the bowl game, probably had the best game of his season in that bowl game up in Idaho. But nothing's promised going into this year. Obviously, a new coach coming in, new talent coming in as well to push him. And so there is an open competition at quarterback. But if you take that quarterback room as a whole, what have you seen so far, and what do you think would get people excited about this coming year?
Oh, they're hungry. They're hungry. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm not saying, I got to kick guys out of the office because I want them all the time here, but they're always wanting to be here. They're wanting to meet. They're wanting to get better. And that's all you can ever ask for as a coach, a person, anything you're doing is just that hunger, that drive, to really push themselves to become the best version of themselves, right? Like even you bring up Josh. Okay, I'll tell Josh, I don't need you to be Tom Brady. I don't need you to be Peyton Manning. I need you to be the best version of Josh Holst. And that's all I can ask any of these quarterbacks or anybody in the program to do. I think for the quarterbacks, the thing that if you're looking at, they're determined, and they're working their butts off. And from that point, you can get a lot of things done. If you have determination, you've got the hard work and great work ethic. Good things should come into fruition if you just stay with that. So that's what excites me about being with this group in this room, and really this entire team and offense is just the amount of hard work and the amount of determination some of these guys have to get to whatever their goals may be.
Obviously, to be a successful quarterback, you also need people to throw it to. And I, for one, don't know what the wide receiver core looks like for NIU this year because there are so many new faces. And I don't know what it looks like as to who's in there, but how are they going to perform when the season rolls along? We all need to see it when it happens. But from your vantage point so far, what have some of these new faces at receiver brought to the table? Has anybody stood out?
Yeah, there's a couple of guys, without mentioning any names, I think there's a few guys that have done a lot of really good things over this beginning of camp. They're just starting to say, not say separate themselves from the other guys, but more say they're standing out a little bit. We have an incredible receivers coach. Coach Hawk does an incredible job with them and really just kind of making sure that, they're three-tool players. Hey, we can, throw them the ball, they can block, they can make guys miss. So that's the nice thing about this receiver room. We've got a little bit of everything. We've got length, we've got some speed, we've got a little bit of everything to play off of. We don't have a bunch of the same guys, which you can kind of get yourself in trouble if you've got too many of the same guys out there.
The running backs certainly were a strength of the team last year as well. What has jumped out to you about the running backs so far?
Oh, I mean, those guys they're really good players. I mean, I don't, there's not too much to say there. We you get out there, you watch the team, you watch some of the things they can do with the football. It excites you. It shows you, why Northern Illinois had so much success in the past in the run game. You get special backs like this. You probably have one of the greatest backs in Northern Illinois history as a head coach. You've got him overlooking. Coach Ty Bowles does an incredible job of making sure those guys are always prepared and ready to go, and then they go out there and perform. So, you look at that and that's all you can ask for. They're coming out, they're prepared. Just because they're prepared is one thing, but then they're also performing. So I think that's a very special group that's got a chance to do some special things this year.
You've had about a week now into spring practice where you've had a chance to really evaluate these guys. Last few days in pads makes things a little bit more different, makes it feel a little bit more real. What has stood out to you just in general? Anything that surprised you or anything that's impressed you the most about the team so far?
Yeah, every day, and it's funny, Coach Moore, our D line coach, incredible a man, he brings it up every day and it's funny too. It's like a heavyweight prize fight out there, and it's one of those things where it doesn't feel like it's lopsided one way or the other. We'll have good plays. Defense will have good plays. We'll battle back. They'll battle back. So you can feel, it going both ways, but momentum doesn't ever go one way or the other for a whole practice. So, we might start hot as an offense. Defense will come back or vice versa. Defense will start hot and then we'll come back. And as a previous head coach, I think that's something, you always want to see from a team. It's just that because you don't ever want to feel lopsided, right? If it's lopsided, then, you might not be as good as you think on one side of the ball or the other. So having that competition, iron sharpens iron. You've got great players going out there and battling. You've got incredible coaches going out there and battling, and you're getting to see it, and watch on film and really sharpen your craft each and every day. So that's probably the most special thing, is just the amount of talent, the amount of incredible coaches that we have here, and the amount of work that these kids are willing to put in to get to where they want to go.
And then the last one for you, Coach. You've got some time left still in spring practice. What do you most hope to achieve? What are your ultimate goals before the end of this spring session is over?
Yeah, for me, we have a mantra on offense. Everything we do is one pack. I'm a big family guy. I believe for us to get to where we got to go, we've got to all have one common goal, one common vision, right? So I think, finishing out this spring, we've had 3 practices out. We've got 12 more opportunities. Can we continually keep coming together, one, as an offense, and then two, as a team? I think the team is there, but we've got to continually come together as an offense and understand that, hey, for us to achieve the goals that we've set out as an offense and as a team, the only way we do that is with togetherness and have the understand that we are one pack with one common goal. And you can't be, we can't get there if guys are outside the pack, and that's the special thing about, being here. And what's been set forth is that camaraderie, that the team building, and having the ability to have these guys, persevere through those moments, good or bad. And I think, if they understand that, hey, we're all in this thing together, I think we'll get to where we need to go.
Coach Quinn Sanders, thanks for your time. I'm going to be the 1,000th person to say welcome to DeKalb. And I think I speak for everyone when I say we're very excited about seeing what the offense is going to look like this fall.
All right. Thank you, Terry. And, have a wonderful day, and I appreciate your time.
It was great to talk to Quinn Sanders, the new offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach here at NIU. But football season's still a few months away. We're still in the swing right now of spring sports. And we've got a lot of updating to do on what's going on at NIU because it's been a very successful spring so far. First of all, congratulations to the Husky baseball team. They scored a 2-1 win over Purdue this past Tuesday. It's the second straight season that the Huskies have defeated a Big Ten opponent. So big news for them. Softball team also had a big week, sweeping Ball State in a doubleheader. And the NIU women's tennis team is off to the best start in school history. So be on the lookout for the women's tennis team. They're off to a great start. They're looking to solidify their MAC status with 2 big matches this weekend. I'll show you those in just a second. Baseball, softball, women's tennis, and men's golf are all at home this weekend. So you can check out the schedules at niuhuskies.com. Complete schedule on every sport. There are changes because the weather is not always accommodating this time of year. So make sure you're on niuhuskies.com every day so you know when each team is playing. Fingers crossed this holds, but this Friday, baseball is in action against Ohio. It's a 3:00 start time. Women's tennis is at Bowling Green. Gymnastics down in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And the women's track and field team is out in California at the Stanford Invitational and also in Chicagoland at Elmhurst. This Saturday, men's golf in the morning, baseball and softball in the afternoon. Those are all home contests. Tennis is on the road at Toledo. Track and field still at Stanford and Elmhurst. Sunday, baseball, softball, women's tennis, all at home. Golf in West Lafayette, Indiana. Women's golf continues the Boilermaker Spring Classic into Monday, and baseball is back at home on Tuesday and at UIC on Wednesday. So that's the upcoming schedule for NIU Huskies. Thanks for joining us today. It has been great to be back. I know it's very exciting for everybody that we're talking football, but also exciting that we've got a lot going on in the spring schedule as well. I know I'm looking forward to hearing more about the new coaching staff for NIU, some more new assistants that we're going to be talking to over the coming weeks as we get ready for the spring MAC championships, which are just around the corner. We got plenty more to come in the upcoming weeks here on NIU Weekly. Thanks, as always, to our editor, Kevin Meyer, and to Donna Turner, who's always helping produce this show behind the scenes. Thanks one more time to Quinn Sanders, the new offensive coordinator, who joined us as the guest on today's show. As always, continue to like and subscribe to the NIU Athletics official YouTube channel. Until next time, Terry Bonadonna signing off. Go Huskies.